Assalamu alaikum. In our previous video, we have discussed different causes of hemolytic anemias. Here, we are going to discuss hemolytic anemia due to hemoglobin defects. And the hemolytic anemias which occur due to hemoglobin defects can be of two types. Either they are qualitative. Qualitative means that there is some defect in the quality of hemoglobin. So the qualitative defect example is sickle cell anemia. So in this video, we will discuss sickle cell anemia in detail. Okay. Sickle cell anemia is a condition which occurs due to a mutation in a gene called beta globin gene. So basically in sickle cell anemia, there is some defect in the beta globin chains of the hemoglobin. We know that hemoglobin is made up of 4 chains, and either they are alpha chains, beta chains, gamma chains, or delta chains. There are 4 types of chains which can be present in hemoglobins, and out of these types, any 2 of types combined together, and it results in the formation of hemoglobin. Normally in an adult person, in the red blood cells of an adult person, 3 types of hemoglobins are present. The most important one is hemoglobin A, which is 96%. This is made up of 2 alpha chains and 2 beta chains. Next we have hemoglobin A2. Hemoglobin A2 is present only 3%, and it is made up of 2 alpha chains and 2 delta chains. Then we have hemoglobin F, or fetal hemoglobin. Fetal hemoglobin is present only 1% inside the red blood cells of an adult person, and it is made up of 2 alpha chains and 2 gamma chains. Okay, now what happens in sickle cell anemia? In sickle cell anemia, there is a defect in the there is mutation in the beta globin gene, so there is defective formation of beta globin chains. So basically there will be defect in hemoglobin A, because hemoglobin A is made up of 2 alpha chains and 2 beta chains. Now what happens to beta chains? Actually in beta chains, at position number 6, the glutamic acid is replaced by valine. When glutamic acid is replaced by valine, then hemoglobin A is converted into sickle cell hemoglobin, or HbS. Now a person who is suffering from sickle cell anemia can be homozygote, or it can be heterozygote. Homozygote means that all the genes are defective. Either they are coming from father or they are coming from mother. And the heterozygote means that half of the genes are defective. That, for example, the genes which are coming from father or either mother, any one person are defective. Sickle cell anemia is basically autosomal recessive disease. Okay, now the person who is heterozygote uh, is said to have sickle cell trait. A person who is having sickle cell trait normally do not have any problem, but if such a person is exposed to extreme conditions, for example high altitude or dehydration, then there may be some defect. Now, what is the incidence of sickle cell disease? Sickle cell anemia is the most common hereditary hemolytic anemia, and sickle cell anemia somehow provides some protection against Plasmodium falciparum, especially in the areas where malaria is prevalent, for example in Africa. It happens that in sickle cell anemia, the lifespan of the red blood cells becomes short, and it becomes just 20 days. And we know that normal lifespan of red blood cells is 120 days. So, when the lifespan of red blood cells becomes short, then the merocytes of the Plasmodium falciparum do not get enough time to become mature, and they are destroyed. So, in this way, sickle cell anemia provide protection against Plasmodium falciparum malaria. Now, what is the pathogenesis of sickle cell anemia? A person who is suffering from sickle cell anemia, we know he has sickle cell hemoglobin, or hemoglobin S. Now this hemoglobin S has affinity for oxygen. It can bind oxygen, but if this HbS molecule is deoxygenated, then it has tendency to form long polymers. When these long polymers are present inside the red blood cells, then the red blood cell become distorted, because it causes damage to the membrane of the red blood cells, and red blood cells become sickle shape. Now, initially when there is change in the shape of the red blood cells, or there is initial sickling, then this initial sickling is reversible. That if we provide oxygen to the red blood cell, then this sickling can be reversed. But with the passage of time, when there is sickling, there is influx of calcium inside the red blood cell, and at the same time there is efflux of potassium and efflux of water. So continuously when there is efflux of potassium and water, then cell becomes highly dehydrated, and there is permanent damage to the cytoskeleton of the red blood cells, so they become irreversibly sickled cells. Now, there are many factors which affect the sickling of red blood cells inside the body of a person. Number one, the presence of hemoglobin other than hemoglobin S. Okay, a person who is suffering from sickle cell trait, for example, it means that a person who is heterozygote, then 40% of the hemoglobin is present in the form of HbS, and the remaining hemoglobin is hemoglobin A. So this hemoglobin A has a weak interaction with hemoglobin S. This hemoglobin S is responsible for the formation of polymers, but this hemoglobin A cannot interact with these polymers. So if a person is heterozygote, he has little tendency for sickling of the red blood cells, because hemoglobin A cannot interact with hemoglobin S. Now there is another condition which is known as hemoglobin C. In hemoglobin S, we have said that hemoglobin S is formed when there is replacement of glutamic acid by valine at position number 6. Sometimes it happens that at position number 6, glutamic acid is replaced by lysine. When the glutamic acid is replaced by lysine at position number 6, then we can say that the person has hemoglobin C. Now, it is a very rare condition. It is about one newborn in 12,050 newborns. In about 1250 newborns, there is a one newborn who is compound heterozygote. Compound heterozygote means that he has both hemoglobin C and hemoglobin S. Now this hemoglobin S forms polymers, and this hemoglobin C has a great tendency to form polymers along with hemoglobin S. So if a person is compound heterozygote for hemoglobin C and hemoglobin S, or we can say that if that a person who is having hemoglobin SC disease has greater tendency to greater tendency of sickling of the red blood cells as compared to a person who is heterozygote and having hemoglobin S and hemoglobin A. Now there is another type of hemoglobin present inside the red blood cells of an adult person called hemoglobin F, which is present only 1%. This hemoglobin F also has very little tendency or no tendency to form polymers with hemoglobin S. So here we have discussed one factor which is responsive, which can somehow influence the sickling of red blood cells. Next we have intracellular concentration of hemoglobin S. This is another factor. Okay, the sickling of the red blood cells highly depends upon the concentration of hemoglobin S inside the red blood cell. Whenever there is high concentration of HbS, there is greater tendency to form sickling of the red blood cells. For example, if there is dehydration of the red blood cell, then we know that there is increase in the concentration of HbS inside the red blood cell. So there is increased tendency. So in case of dehydration of red blood cell, there is increased chances of sickling of the red blood cell. Similarly, if a person is suffering from alpha thalassemia, and we know that thalassemia is a condition in which there is decreased hemoglobin, it is a quantitative defect. So when there is decrease in the hemoglobin concentration inside the red blood cell, even though a person has sickle cell disease, there will be less sickling because there is less concentration of HbS inside the cell. So we have discussed two factors which influence the sickling of the red blood cells in the sickle cell disease. Next we have the transit time for red blood cells through the microvasculature. Okay, sickling of the red blood cells depends upon deoxygenation of the red blood cells, and if there is slow passage of the blood from some vasculature, then there is more time for the cell to dump oxygen, or for more time for deoxygenation. So sickling mainly occur in the areas of the body or vasculature where there is sluggish blood flow. The areas of the body where especially in which there is sluggish blood flow include bone marrow and spleen. So bone marrow and spleen are the main organs which are affected by sickle cell disease. Now here we can see blood smear of a person who is suffering from sickle cell disease, and in this blood smear we can clearly see sickle shaped cells. These are the sickle shaped cells. Similarly, here we can see sickle shaped cells. In addition to sickle shaped cells, there is anisocytosis. The word anisocytosis means that the red blood cells are of different sizes. Here we can see some red blood cells are smaller and some red blood cells are larger. So there is anisocytosis. Then there is poikilocytosis. Poikilocytosis means that red blood cells are of different shapes, and we can clearly see that some of the red blood cells are biconcave, some are spherical. Here we can see spherical red blood cell, and some are sickle shaped. Then we can also see target cells. This is target cell. Target cell is actually, this is again target cell. Target cells are actually red blood cells which have a dark ring. This is a dark ring, and this dark ring is surrounding dark central spot. There is central concentration of hemoglobin. This is dark. This is known as target cell, and these target cells are present in case of sickle cell anemia or sickle cell disease. Okay, now there are certain now we have discussed three important factors which influence the sickling of the red blood cells in a person who is suffering from sickle cell disease. Now there are one of the factor was sluggish blood flow. We know that when there is sluggish blood flow, then there is increased chances of sickling. There are certain factors which can cause sluggish blood flow. For example, one of the factors is inflammation. Whenever a person is suffering from inflammation, that the blood flow through the vasculature becomes sluggish because there is adherence of the WBCs and red cells to the endothelial cells. So if a person has sickle cell disease and at the same time he suffered some inflammation, then it can enhance or it can cause crisis in a person. Now, there are mainly two consequences which arise from the sickling of the red blood cells. When there is sickling of the red blood cells, then the lifespan of the red blood cells becomes short and it becomes just 20 days. So the person will suffer from chronic hemolytic anemia. Next, when a person is when there is sickling of the red blood cells, then these red blood cells stick to the blood vessels, stick in the blood vessels, because they cannot easily pass through the blood vessels, and they cause obstruction of the blood vessels. So there is ischemia to the tissues and it causes pain crisis. Okay, now we come to morphology. A person who is suffering from sickle cell anemia will have chronic hemolytic anemia. Then when there is chronic hemolytic anemia, and at the same time the red blood cells are responsible for causing obstruction of the microvasculature. So there is ischemia and infarction. Especially the areas which are affected by ischemia include heart, liver, because these are all vital organs: heart, liver, and renal tubules. Also, when there is chronic hemolytic anemia, then our bone marrow tries to compensate for this, and as a result of which there is hyperplasia of the bone marrow. And when there is hyperplasia of the red bone marrow, then there is secondary bone formation, new bone formation in the bone marrow. Such a persons have typical skeletal features. For example, there is prominence of cheekbones, and there are certain changes in the skull. There is when we perform the x-ray of such person, then on the skull bone we can easily see that there are certain hair like projections which we can see in the radiographs. This is known as screw cut appearance in the radiographs, in which on the skull bone we can see hair like projections because of red bone marrow hyperplasia. Then there is also extra medullary hematopoiesis in the liver and spleen. Okay, when a person is suffering from sickle cell anemia, then initially in children there is a moderate splenomegaly, because there is congestion of the splenic pulp by the RBCs, sickled RBCs. But with the passage of time, there is severe ischemia of the spleen in such a way that there is autosplenectomy. This autosplenectomy is a very important point, and it is a distinguishing feature of sickle cell anemia from all other types of anemia. Then because of ischemia, there is damage to bones, liver, kidney, retina, brain, lungs, skin. There is also priapism, which means erectile. There is painful erection. There is erectile dysfunction because there is constant breakdown of the red blood cells, and there is release of iron. There is hemosiderosis. Also, hemosiderosis occurs because there is um, excessive absorption of iron from GIT, because there is deficiency of iron because of excessive breakdown of the red blood cells. Then when there is excessive breakdown of red blood cells, then there is increase in the concentration of unconjugated bilirubin, and this unconjugated bilirubin is converted into conjugated bilirubin. So this conjugated bilirubin can accumulate in the gallbladder, and it can result in the formation of gallstones, which are basically calcium bilirubinate stones. Okay, now what are the clinical features of a person who is suffering from sickle cell anemia? If a person is suffering from homozygous sickle cell disease, then the person will remain asymptomatic for about 6 months, because this is the time when hemoglobin F is present and it is not replaced by hemoglobin S. So signs and symptoms will appear after 6 months of age. Then the person will suffer from chronic hemolytic anemia, which will be moderate to severe. Then as there is anemia, there is hemolysis of the red blood cells, there is hyperbilirubinemia, and unconjugated bilirubin is increased. And as there is anemia, then there is compensatory reticulocytosis. Okay, these the red blood cells, we have discussed all these features earlier. There is vaso-occlusion, which can lead to pain crisis. Then there is a condition which is known as acute chest syndrome, which can occur in a person who is suffering from sickle cell disease. Basically, what happens, that if a person is suffering from sickle cell disease and at the same time he suffer from some pulmonary infection, then due to this pulmonary infection, the blood flow in the kidney